go.
Okay, since we're just live, I want to tell everybody what happened. I just exploded.
I never didn't believe in Bigfoot. I never believed in it. I didn't believe in it. I never give it any thought.
See, I was sitting down.
They kept wood knocking back.
Hang on 1 second.
And it was
We're
in a
gonna run the
pattern.
intro first.
Barn owls don't typically throw rocks. I come across these tracks.
Sasquatch is still not on my mind.
Hey, man. Hey, sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off with the intro there. I was like, oh shit, he's talking.
No, if anything, I pulled one off on you. I should be apologizing to you, Bobby.
Oh, you were going, I was like, crap, and I can't stop it now. It would just look funny. What were you going to say?
I mean, that's it, really. Everything else was just extra.
I didn't hear what you said at all.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said? Oh, okay.
You just said, yeah, I got something going on while I'm at it. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, okay. Well, just a few minutes ago, I guess I had sat down with a Diet Coke, and I'm sitting on my bed, and I put the Diet Coke between my legs just so it wouldn't spill, and then I cracked the can open, and it just exploded. And so I got Diet Coke on my crotch and my bed, and that's how I started. Yeah,
the sweet aspartame, baby.
Mm-hmm.
AOS Chris says, hope we had a good weekend. We did. I'm kind of disappointed to have to go back to reality tomorrow.
I had a good weekend too. Lots of was at the lake. I'm a lake life person now, and so I talk about the lake a lot. But I was at the lake.
Down by the lake. What's that country song? Down by the lake, just west of Santa Fe. That's the only two lyrics in the whole song. Down by the lake, just of Santa Fe.
Well, the term lake is a loaded term. It's a pregnant term, so you don't have to say anything else. It implies a lot. A lot of stuff happens at the lake.
Technically, I spent time at the lake this weekend too, but it was only like a half an acre lake.
That's a lake.
At what point does a lake turn into a pond?
That's a good question. Is
that a biological question, or is that geological?
Oh, it could be biological. I worked at ponds. Okay, there's one specific pond called the Kettle Pond. You heard of these ponds? You ever heard of these guys?
A kettle pond?
Yeah. So a kettle pond. The ones I played in were in Gothic, Colorado, city of Colorado. But anyway, what happens is you have I think it was an iceberg. No, not an iceberg. What is it called? The glacier?
Glacier? You
have a huge rock of ice in an area, right? And then it melts and it fills up the hole it made, and that's a kettle pond. So kettle ponds all started off as big blocks of ice at some point.
Like a Great Lake is a kettle pond.
Yeah, I guess so. Or yeah.
We have things around here where the North Alabama has the most caves of any county in the world. That's like a real known statistic. And so we have these giant blue holes everywhere. It's like a reverse Minnesota. The ground goes down and everything, and these holes are like blue as the ocean, and they're like 33 degrees. So and they're just caves that link the whole place. So it's kind of like a reverse kettle pond.
They sound like beautiful holes.
Oh, they are full of brim and fish. And very cold.
The opposite of those Yellowstone, those beautiful Yellowstone holes they have. Those are hot.
Don't jump in those. Don't jump in those.
It's tempting though. You look at them, you're like, ooh, pretty. You're like,
and you see like you could probably there's like steps in them where the little ashes and everything are in it. I could walk right into that and roast off like a Sam's Club or a Costco rotisserie chicken.
Oh yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they prep you. I went to see Old Yeller. I guess that was Yellowstone. And then Like you park in the parking lot and you're getting ready to go see the beautiful holes, like
You
the
know, Faithful.
Old Faithful. Yeah. What did
Oh,
I
the
say?
Old Yeller's a dog. It got
Old Yeller. Old Yeller.
you went to a movie premiere of Old Yeller at Yellowstone. So
No,
damn literal.
that's a good name for a geyser. I mean, it's like kind of yelling, you know. Yeah.
They're
But
all
yeah,
yellow.
they're all yelling. But so you're gonna go. You're at Yellowstone. You're about to go see the beautiful holes that are like colorful red and blues and oranges. But in a parking lot, they have these smaller holes that are taped around. They just look like dirty brown water, but they are bubbling, and that's just like a little prepper. You know, it's like, oh, this is like a bubbling hole. And then you go down the trail and you see the nice ones, the really nice
What
ones.
creeps me out is when you're at Old Faithful. You know, you're on the little walking trail that goes up the little thing around all the different geysers.
Yeah,
and there's buffalo tracks on it. I'm like, how did a buffalo not just fall in and go a Brea tar? We can't walk on them, but a buffalo can.
Huh.
Like, are there not just boiled buffalo as far as the eye can see?
Nobody talks about it, so it's either not a thing or it's a conspiracy they're hiding.
Part of me wants to know how long a buffalo would last in one of those holes. I could get some. They've had to have fallen in.
You mentioned La Brea. I went to La Brea last May, and it's super cool, man. It's awesome. We went there, and it was this awesome, like stereotypical, beautiful man, by the way, but just like retired Jewish guy from Hollywood, I guess. And he gives the best tours. I mean, he'll give you like a hand-holding tour through the La Brea tar pits, and he loves it. And it's a really cool museum. But then I found out they have like an overabundance. They're lousy. Lousy. See, lousy sounds like a bad thing, but if I use the word lousy in this context, I say they're lousy with the skull of dogs.
Got a ton of them.
It means they have a ton of them. Yeah. So they were lousy. They had so many skull of dogs. That's like the thing they keep getting nonstop. So a lot of dogs, prehistoric dogs, died at the La Brea tar pits. But they have so much. They did this whole exhibit where it's literally just a huge wall corridor filled with like finely clean, preserved skulls of dogs, like a whole hallway. They did that on purpose to show off. Be like, look, you don't believe us? Look how many skulls there are of dogs in these pits. There's so many. We don't know what to do.
How big is the tar pits? Is it like being in a pond? A nice callback, or is it just like looking in like a hole, in the ground?
Well, there's at that site. There's various sizes. There is one large one that looks kind of like a community. Okay. It's the size of a community lake. You know, a lake you would go to in a neighborhood. That's the biggest one I saw, and then the other ones are very small. Yeah.
What, like 3 or 4 acres or better?
The biggest one.
Yeah.
The biggest one is like maybe it's less than a football field large, from what I remember. Wow.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
Still, I was thinking maybe like a literal mud puddle where everything fell in, but I can see how that would work then.
Yeah, and see a lot of things. See that this is how they appear now. They may have appeared very different, you know, tens of thousands of years ago. So I don't know. They might have been bigger, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
I would like to go see that because just the predators they have there. Oh, it's just like a vacuum sealed cross section of history.
And they do this really great thing that I wish more natural history museums do, but they do it like it's a great museum, by the way. It's a great museum, but they do this thing where they have all of these prehistoric mammals that are extinct and weird looking, cave bears, like weird elephants, and they make like full size, you know, versions of them, so you could just stand next to them and really get an idea of what it would be like. And they do that with a lot of animals. So
I am so fascinated when I see Ice Age. So I went through the dinosaur phase back in the day, like every kid does, every boy does. And it would always, the cyclical dinosaur phase would go, you start off with you start with the big T-Rex and everything, you know, the all-star cast. Then you start getting curious. You get over into Metrodon, which isn't actually a dinosaur, and you start looking at, you get fascinated with other aspects of like the plesiosaur and what the mosasaur, things that do different things. Then you always end up at Ice Age.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you would just spend some time at Ice Age, and you get over in the elephant section, and like the trunk would go here, and it would be up here, and there wouldn't be a trunk. I'm like, what was going on with elephants? And I wonder what made the trunk start like, you know, and then go like that's had to be like there's got to be, I know there's prehistoric biology.
I can tell you I could guess. So I'll say I have not researched the topic. I have not researched the topic. So, and the thing is, the answer is there. So we're playing a fun game. Like, how close can Biologist Wild Trees get to real. How good is he at guessing real paleontological research? So this is what I'm guessing happened with these weird elephants, with the weird trunks.
Yeah, the trunks. Here.
So I mean, in general, the way evolution works is a lot of times you get random mutations in a population. So it could be that the DNA itself randomly mutates a very strange shape of the trunk, and then what decides whether it stays or not is whether it's a beneficial adaptation. And I'm thinking some of those trunks really help the animals plug into a very specific niche, or if we're talking about business, it helped them get a really small market, like a really niche market, like neck beards that love talking about dinosaurs. Unrelated topic, but it's like, yeah. So some of those weird shapes, what they probably did is somebody was probably born with one weird, like randomly, and it turned out that he was able to eat food that other elephants weren't because of the shape of his beak allowed him to do that. Then he got more food. He was more likely to live, more likely to be bigger. He or she more likely to mate, and then the more likely they mated, the more likely their children would get it. And if they had it, it would also benefit them. And that's probably what happened with these weird tusks.
Started to be able to get to a certain little area of a place that has a certain animal in it or certain vegetation in it.
Yeah, one little thing full of shrimp, one little weird part of the bank full of fish and shrimp that none of the other ones could get into because their tusks were just not the right shape, and they could just exploit it. And yeah, they became specialized. But then those shrimp and stuff, they probably co-evolved. They started getting they started feeling the pressure of predation, which they didn't feel before, and then they started having their own random mutations, and some of them evolved things that helped them not get eaten by the new elephant thing, and then it just goes on and on forever.
I love how Ice Age things always have every version of animals now, but in a giant form.
Yeah,
like,
no, cool.
Who made that shit?
I was going to say that's the thing that's like, because I did go through the dinosaur stage, then I went to the Ice Age stage, and I remember
you always do 2 or 3 times.
And it was a different reaction to the Ice Age stage. The dinosaur stage was like amazement and wonder. You're like, oh my god, that's crazy. But then when you get to the Ice Age stuff, it's more like a freak show in a good way, though. It's more like a weird sideshow. You're like, whoa, look at that. That's weird. That's strange.
It's like Aliens 3 when Ripley's going through the little pods full of her old self and the clones. Like, what the hell is that? There's like a sloth with like a trunk. Like, how did that? A camel with a horn out of its face.
Good point. Also, Alien Resurrection. Yep. But yeah,
I think that's a popular trope, is just seeing tanks full of clones.
filled clones. Yeah, they did it in Jurassic Park 3. They did it.
They almost had Jurassic Park 4 with human clones in it.
Yeah, I read
almost happened.
I haven't read the script, but the script is out there. And then I saw this YouTube channel where the guy goes through the entire script of what happened in that not made Jurassic Park 4 that had human. There's a lot of elements that made it to Jurassic World. They just toned them down way. Just kept the essence of them, like Citroën, like LaCroix, sparkling water. They just kept the essence of that script for. Yeah.
I'll try to pull up one. That was one of the. It was almost like an urban legend for a while about the Jurassic Park 4 is gonna have humans in it, human clones. Here we go. Look at that bad boy. What if they had that? He's got some Peter Pan like loincloths on. Oh my lord. What in the world? Hellboy over here.
I mean, you can see how they kept the ideas of like weird hybrids and the Indoraptor and the Indominus Rex, but they just kind of scaled it in a different direction. They got rid of the human stuff.
I can't imagine the focus group meetings. The first guy that brought those, like, hear me out. And he puts he puts the paper down like a scroll, and they put it out. They put mugs on either side. And they're like, what the hell is this? Hear me out. Human clones. But in Jurassic World, they did have the girl that was a clone.
They did, yeah, they did.
They did put it in there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shots in when they introduced that girl. Her name is Maisie Lockwood. There's a lot of shots with the Indoraptor, the main villain, who's a hybrid, that kind of make it seem like maybe it has part of her DNA or she has part of its DNA because they're both clones.
Yeah, Maisie was in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where she was introduced.
She wasn't in Jurassic World.
No, she wasn't. Yeah, and then she was the main kid. Here, this is the kid structure for the Jurassic Park movies. Okay, Jurassic Park 1, they had a boy and a girl kid. Okay, Jurassic Park 2, they're like, just to have a girl kid, Ian Malcolm's daughter. Jurassic Park 3, like, okay, now let's just have one guy kid. And then they go to Jurassic World, and they're like, okay, let's have 2 brothers. We never done that. Let's go back to 2, but then 2 boys. And then they go back to just 1 girl. And the last 2 movies only had 1 girl. But if you count the small movie they made, which is probably some of the best Jurassic World media, that Battle at Big Rock short.
Oh, the campground?
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that one. That's a family.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kids in that one. There's like 3 different kids of different ages. Baby.
That was a good one where they knocked over the camper.
Yeah, some of those shots were so impressive. I liked it.
We talked about this before. We actually did this. We actually did this episode last week before it started,
right?
And we talked about the in the book Jurassic World, there was a girl and a boy.
The Lost World, you mean?
Yeah. Part 2, the book Jurassic. Yeah, the Lost World.
Yeah. So in the book, so in the first book, there's 2 kids and everything's the same except their ages are switched. So in the book, the girl's a little younger and the boy's older.
And Lex was still a hacker.
Yeah, she was still a hacker, but she was even younger. But in the book, it's kind of weird. There's this new character that's not in any of the movies, but there's this scientist basically who's a rogue, and he's kind of an asshole. Nobody likes him, and he's a paleontologist. And he's doing like community service or something. Like literally, I don't remember, but he has to do community service. And so he's mentoring these 2 like lower income poor kids at a public school. And it's a boy and a girl. And that's who is in the Lost World book. And so they just completely scrapped that whole thing for Malcolm's daughter.
Who was the guy in Lost World that was on a bicycle?
The motorbike?
There was somebody, I remember he looked through something and the person was on a bicycle. He was on an actual bicycle.
Yeah, I remember
this book.
In the book, another character, there was a younger character who was a badass, and his name was Eddie.
Was that Vince Vaughn? Was that Vince Vaughn's character they adapted?
Yeah, it's Vince Vaughn.
That's what
but they switched the name. So Vince Vaughn's character is named Nick in the movie, but in the book, his name is Eddie. And yeah, I think
Eddie. Yeah. I just remember them looking through some kind of device or something like he's on a bicycle. And I remember this is like some meta stuff that no one's going to want to care about. But I remember like Sarah Harding having to swim or getting dumped overboard.
Yeah, she was tricked. That's funny. So this is a scene. The scene I'm about to mention, we talked about how the books, stuff is. So there's a small scene with Sarah Harding in the Lost World book, and they finally used it in the movies in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. So Sarah gets she gets messed up or something. Like they kidnap. Like she's trying to go to the island or something, and so I think some human scammer, and she ends up washing ashore on the beach, and she's woken up by a Stegosaurus who licks her face. And so they had that scene in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom where Owen Grady has been partially tranquilized. I rewatched the movie, and they show the tranquilizer dart get pulled out halfway through, so that's why he wakes up, because he doesn't get the full dose. But a Sinoceratops, kind of a Triceratops looking dinosaur, wakes him up.
Yeah, licks him,
and that's directly from the second book. So they keep using those scenes over.
Yeah, and he ends up rescuing her from the little ball in the ocean.
Yeah, that scene's good. Yep, it's like and that scene's one continuous shot also from the time to get in the ball.
I forgot all about the licking with the Stegosaurus part. Was the little Protoceratops portion. Oh my gosh, I got to go back and read all that. See, I've got several audiobooks I got to catch up on, and one of them is Dr. Robin Hansen's the something of M. He's a economist, futurist, philosophical guy I've got coming on. I'm just going to have to, I've got to take like some kind of limitless pill before he comes on, because he's going to think I'm a Neanderthal. He's going to think he's talking to a literal special ed child when he gets on here, because I've looked at his TED Talks. I'm like, I got to gear up. I got to do something.
Oh, interesting.
I have to steal some Adderall or something. He's so good. He's so talented.
Yeah. That'll go fine though. I think it'll good.
He should. He does a lot of his shtick is he's an economist, George Mason, but his shtick is predicting the growth of civilizations via the economist theories. So like, it took us so long to get to swords, so long to get to bow and arrows, so long to get from flying machines to landing on the moon. And he says if that, and it just goes in half every little jump goes in half. And he goes, the next one's going to be every 15 minutes. It's like,
Yeah.
at what point do we stop growing at that doubled rate? And what happens if we don't? Like, do the robots turn? He goes, eventually we're just going to be robots. We can't evolve physically and mentally that quick. And like robots will evolve every nanosecond.
Yeah.
So he just says, does the rate restart with robots? I mean, it's a whole thing. I can't wait to talk to him. But he was on Lex Friedman.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. When is that coming up?
I think it's on the 25th of July, but I'm gonna have to I'm gonna audiobook his books and probably watch a couple podcasts. He's done 4 TED Talks. I've watched them. And they're basically smoke circles.
Yeah.
What if, man? What if, man?
Well, I was going to tell you, you probably noticed already since talking to these academics, but they love talking about themselves. They love talking about them. Just asking
let them go.
Yep.
And they love talking about this stuff, the strange things, the high strangeness.
That's good.
You can just, I mean, most of them do. Most of them have something they want to talk about because you know how you always want to do something a little bit bad. If you're a dietitian, you want to go eat at Taco Bell.
Sure.
If you're you're a biologist, but and your name is not broadcasted because you like to step out on the wild side, no pun intended.
Exactly. You
like to climb fire towers and see aliens.
Exactly. Look for the crypto-terrestrials, baby.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking today, I was listening to getting up to speed for this show, a Biology 101 and a couple other little quick biology podcasts. And one of the things I got to thinking about, because my cousin has it's like a 2x4, not a cylinder, but like a rectangle that's encased with screen door wire, and one side is duct taped. Not duct tape, but Velcro, so you can open it. And he's got it full of monarch butterfly caterpillars.
Oh yeah, nice.
He's got about 10 or 12 in there, and one of them had wedged itself between the screen and the wood and was climbing. And I was watching it, and about the time I got the video out, I was going to video it because it was doing this weird little motion. You know how caterpillars do. And he was, but you could see like the underside of his belly while he was doing it, because you usually can't see it, but I could see it through the screen. And he stopped as soon as I turned the camera on. I said, "What kind of Bigfoot shit are you?" Like, one cool thing, I get the camera out. You've been doing it for 15 minutes because you're slow as hell. But I got to thinking, I said, I wonder if there are cryptids that are bugs that no one knows about and they just feel left out.
That's funny. Well, that's a good question. Well, I can answer that for you. Haven't worked with bugs.
There's John P. Adventures. Hey. Yeah, that's the reason I thought about you.
Hey, John, I love you, brother.
Woo, woo, woo. JPA. I wonder how long it would take him to show up. 23 minutes, new record. Anyway, cryptid bugs.
Well, see here, number one, there's probably a low estimation is several dozen million undiscovered species of insects on this planet. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, what makes an undiscovered species into a cryptid? Because they're not. I don't think they're the same thing. So,
nope.
I feel like a cryptid has to be remarkable in some way, out of the ordinary. So,
I think an undiscovered creature could be considered a cryptid just by default, but it's not once it's discovered officially.
Well, if you look at the definition of cryptozoology, cryptid, it literally means hidden animal. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like any animal that hasn't. Well, see, here's the thing. Okay, if we discover a new species, but it's always been under our nose, we just never noticed it, and it technically wasn't hidden, it wouldn't be a cryptid. But any insect species that has avoided us discovering it and naming it because it does hide well, it technically would be a cryptid, because the definition of a cryptid is a hidden animal. So I'm thinking now, if you look at the literal definition of cryptid, then yeah, most new species that haven't been discovered are cryptids because they're hidden from our view or our understanding.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, just by default.
Yeah,
like they always go back to mountain gorilla. That's where it always goes to.
Yeah,
that and what's the Chinese Tasmanian tiger. They always go back to those two. And I wonder if like if the tardigrade, if there was some kind of genetic mutation that made them the size of, like a wombat. Can you imagine a tardigrade the size of a wombat? That
Yeah.
thing would be terrifying.
Yeah. It would be a water animal, so you'd encounter it in the ocean. It'd be in the ocean floor. But here's the thing: water bears are 100% water animals, and they always sink. So if they were, just following your thought here, so if they were the size of a wombat, or let's say a medium-sized dog, for people that aren't familiar with a wombat, it's a
Or a pig.
Or pig.
Yeah.
It would be in the water still. So you would find them in lakes and streams and ponds, but they would be, you know what they'd be like? They'd be like alligator snapping turtles. You know how they're always at the bottom?
Oh yeah.
That's what
Step
it'd be
on
like.
them.
So they wouldn't actually hunt you. They're not like a shark. See, sharks are actively in the water column. They don't sink. But a water bear would sink. So maybe it wouldn't be so bad. They'd be like,
I mean, I wonder, all the things on the ocean floor, like in the Mariana Trench. I bet there's something akin to a water bear down there.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be. Yeah.
I mean, not to talk out of turn, but like the fitness. If I say this wrong, but the fitness of what a water bear is. I mean, that could be scaled up. I mean, it's just like a 6-legged caterpillar almost, isn't it?
I think the word you mean is maybe the morphology.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, if it could be scaled up, I mean, it could actually work in our environment. I mean, it's obviously not something. The structure isn't foreign to things that are bigger.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, let me see. Let me think about that.
Fitness is not the word.
Fitness is the number of healthy children you have that can also reproduce.
Yeah. I'm thinking of just like the doability of the structure of the body.
Yeah, like I said, I think the word is morphology. Morphology literally just means the way you look, the way your body looks, your shape, shape of your body.
Because if you took like a grizzly bear and just said, make this the same size as a tardigrade, it's not going to like immediately die, especially if it's in the water. It's going to be sustainable.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for water. Yeah, so if they were that size, they were just like crabs. I mean, there's a lot of food for them to eat. They're not.
I don't know what it would eat.
I guess crabs, something slow, because they're not very active hunters. None of the tardigrade species I've seen.
I know they
they can eat plants. They can eat plants. Yeah, there's a bunch of plants they could eat.
They're kind of like a hippo almost in a certain way.
Yeah, that's true.
There's
go ahead.
I said there's a challenge going around to feed big animals like hippos a lemon and see what they do as zookeepers and farmers.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
I'm looking at a water bear now. They look like they're in a fat suit.
No, that challenge, to go back to that challenge, that sounds like an easy way. It sounds like a bad idea, an easy way to get on a hippo shit list, which I would never want to be. They'll remember you, dude. They'll be like, oh, lemons are funny, huh? You know what else is funny? Chomp.
You know what else is funny? A split skull. See this giant tooth? Is it sour? Is it sour, Fred? One of the guys raises rodeo bulls, and he fed one of those. And it's just like, oh, what is this? I'm gonna kill everyone. It was the guy. Chris said, never mess with a hippo.
Exactly.
Remember the first time white people found out about hippos was during the movie Congo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time white people knew they were dangerous. Like, what? I thought they were cuddly. No, they almost killed James Spader.
Exactly.
Would never been a blacklist.
Oh, you know, this is funny. We're talking about the books, the Jurassic Park movies that get stuff from the books. Okay, so we're saying basically like there's only 2 Jurassic Park books, but it's taking about 6 movies to get all the scenes from those books, especially the first book. And they still have things they haven't done. So what we're saying is that those 2 books are so chock full of amazing dinosaur scenes. So there's not only that, I was thinking in Congo, and the book is amazing. I remember when I got the book, my friend found it. I was in college. My friend found it in a garage sale for me. And I started reading it at that night, and I just read it all the way through. I think I stayed up all night. It was good.
So good.
It was so good. And at the end, what happens? There's a huge, like, it's like super, chaotic and like edge of your seat. There's a huge volcanic eruption, and it's everybody's trying to get off. And to me, I think they're almost adapting that scene from Congo in Fallen Kingdom, because the exact same thing happened. So it's like they're even taking scenes from his other novels and putting them in the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah, it definitely worked, and I've thought that as well. I was like, this is like the same, like the Congo thing just starts erupting.
This is Congo with dinosaurs instead of apes, but yeah.
And man, Congo was so good. Like it doesn't really throw your suspension of disbelief one iota until the daggum George Lucas special effect gorillas come out.
Right.
And you're like, what is that? That doesn't look like a gorilla at all. Like it looks like a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic.
Yeah.
But they're the worst part of the whole movie.
Well,
then they start slicing them up with a laser. So I'm in. Was that Tim Curry?
Yeah. Yeah, he was
the
Bruce Campbell gets killed
the
off.
walls say we are watching. The hieroglyphics. Yeah, it's a goated movie. You got Amy Bad Gorilla.
Yeah. I like that Houston is involved. Any movie with Houston in it. I think what is the main actress's name? She's kind of famous, who played the lead female role in Congo.
Oh yeah. I'd have to look at it.
Her whole office, her whole like home base company she works for is in Houston.
Yeah, and they were like
so they're basically like everybody from Houston is like coldless capitalists, which is 100% correct.
Oh, okay. I kept wanting to call her Laura Dern, but yeah, but it's obviously not Laura Dern. Okay, yeah. And this had some cool people. It had. Now we're looking at the internet again. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, Congo is good. I'm sitting here looking at all the man. I forgot they were in it. The typical little Middle Eastern guy that was in all the movies back then.
Oh yeah.
Tim Curry. I mean. Also, why is James Spader not on top of the what? I'm looking at the Congo IMDb, and James Spader is not on the top cast. Are you kidding me?
Is he in the movie? Is he really in the movie? Are you talking about the male lead? No,
is that not James Spader? It wasn't James Spader. Holy
no,
Jesus. Am I having a stroke?
He was in Nip Tuck.
I'm thinking of Stargate. Holy shit. Y'all just witnessed it, people. I need to go to a neurologist. Oh my God. I thought it was James. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, it's James Spader.
Blame it on a long holiday weekend, Bobby.
Yeah. It's this white monster I consumed before we started. Yeah, man, Chris, I know I got my 90s goated sci-fi movies mixed up. Wow, I'm going to go look into the light or something.
But the main male lead, he was I knew him a lot from Nip Tuck. So he was in the early 2000s. He was a corrupt plastic surgeon in Miami. That actor was.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I had Stargate. I've watched Stargate so many times in the last 2 years. It's been on so many free things. That's a good movie too. I mean, I could watch Stargate almost over. I didn't even like it back in the day. It's better now. It was almost worse back then.
They had so many spin-off TV shows off of that movie. A lot.
Yeah, SG-1.
Yeah.
Then they had the guy that looked like Kurt Russell, that played Kurt Russell, but didn't look like Kurt Russell.
Right. Exactly.
I always like, did you guys see Kurt Russell before you cast this guy, or you just hope to goodness maybe no one will notice? Like, just get us close.
You know, for the first time last month, I saw Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a good one. It had those little fake Chinese gods.
You know, it's funny. The experience was funny because, okay, so I got the DVD. I was playing it on my laptop, right? And I had really high quality headphones, right? So I was like, I want to use the headphones. Okay, I looked at the different audio settings in the DVD, and then it had English, but it was surround sound 5.1, which obviously I didn't have. I had 2 headphones. So when I started listening to the movie, a bunch of sound effects were missing. So luckily, the Spanish dub of the movie was in stereo, and it sounded amazing. And luckily, I understand Spanish. So I have not seen it in English, but I think most of the jokes translate well to Spanish.
So you just watched a dub of Big Trouble in Little China in Spanish just for the good stereos?
Yeah, because literally there's big scenes where the punchline is a big like something breaking or somebody like shattering something, and with the English version, I didn't hear the shatter sound at all. Like it was missing a bunch of special, like just special. It was jarring, but yeah.
Word.
And then I realized that movie was a big influence on Mortal Kombat series, the fighting series.
That was, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
so. I had a different
Like
little people in it.
Raiden is one of the major characters in Mortal Kombat. That was directly inspired by Big Trouble, Little China.
I watched it. I watched that movie about 9 years ago. Whenever I was working in a VTC or a audio visual job that had hardly anything to do, but they had cable and it came on. I watched it on basic cable. I've probably seen the abridged version too. But yeah. So now that we've completely digressed, but what do so you moved farther west to from Houston, didn't you? And you moved out to the lake?
Yeah, so technically it is farther west, but it's more north than west. So I moved more
Yeah.
northwest. Yeah, but yeah, you're correct. Yeah, so I'm just like about a 5-minute drive from a large lake. I've told you,
Texas is like, yeah, moving around Texas is like traveling on the poles. Everywhere you go is west, north.
I talked about the city name. I have mentioned it. It's called Please Don't Nobody Stalk Me, or
Please don't.
Texas is what it's called. Please Nobody Stalk Me, Texas. It's a weird name, but that's what they called it. Nobody Dox Me. That's the other name. It's known as Nobody Dox Me, Texas. It's an old German word. This area was founded by Germans.
It's a very specific Scandinavian translation of. But what I was getting to is your
kolaches.
kolaches.
There's literally kolache festivals around here.
I could eat a kolache right now if they had one. I got pizza coming. I cannot wait. I was going to ask you to talk about the. You're going to be discussing entomology at the state park. I want to see how that was going. And I'm going to turn my camera off for a second while you discuss that.
Sure. Well, I have this presentation, which I actually gave on my YouTube channel about entomology. And so the first half of this presentation is about like scientific research and why it's important. And then I talk about environments and why they're important, like ecosystems. And then I also talk about how all the animals are important. And the reason I talk about that first is to tee up my talk about entomology. So I just give a general overview on insects and what they are. But I feel like I have to have those two sections first because like I feel like one of the major questions is like, why should I even care about insects? Like insects? Are you serious?
Yeah.
So the first two sections are like teeing up, like this is how insects fit into our modern world. They can help with scientific discoveries. They do help with scientific discoveries. And they're also part of the ecosystem. And these are the benefits of the ecosystem. And then part of that, this was really cool. For that presentation, and like I said, you can watch this presentation on my YouTube channel, Biologist Wild Trees. But I came up with an Aesop's fable, okay, to illustrate my point. Now, I feel like my Aesop's fable counts as a legitimate Aesop's fable because, let me explain. So I'm a big fan of Aesop's fables since I was a kid. They're short, little stories that are told with a moral at the end or a lesson at the end. So some of the popular ones are like the rabbit and the hare, the rabbit and the tortoise, the racing.
Tortoise and the hare.
And so I came up with my own. And here's the thing. They're called Aesop's fables because it's thought there was a man named Aesop who started the tradition. We know very little about him. He might have been a slave. But the point is somebody, maybe Aesop, started a tradition of orally telling these stories. And they involve animals and adventures. And they're supposed to just educate you with common sense. That's basically it. And so in the same tradition of people just coming up with these stories, I came up with my own. And I actively teach people or tell people orally the story. I've done it at schools, at high schools, at conventions, at state parks. And so to me, I'm like, hey, this is a legit Aesop's fable. Like, put it in the book. Like, it's an Aesop's fables. I came up with it myself. I'm telling it in the tradition of Aesop's fables. I have the same intention. And so it is an Aesop's fable. But yeah, that's part of the presentation. And then the second half is about insects. Now, what I was going to change for the state park is they give a lot of walking tours here, like scavenger hunts. So I was like, what if I just laminate my presentation and everybody gets like one of the slides, like a full size slide, it's the size of a sheet of paper. and I'll give it as a walking presentation. I've never done that before. So usually you sit down in an auditorium or, in front of a screen of some kind, and I'll just give the presentation, you ask questions.
Mhm.
But I was like, let me take it on the road or on the trail. That way we could stop and we could actually look at insects, and I could be like, look,
That'd be
that's
more
what
fun.
yeah. So, but yeah, I'm actually, I have an interview on Tuesday with the park interpreter, which is basically the person who coordinates volunteers, and the superintendent, I think, of the park. And then after that, I could start the talk. But I have given it before. I'm saying this is a new park I'm going to. So you
Mhm.
kind of got to start fresh. But yeah, I gave it at Huntsville State Park when I was a graduate student. I lived in Huntsville, and I went to Sam Houston State University, and I
Mhm.
went ahead and gave that talk at their state park. But yeah,
That's where the microscope was.
which one?
The electron. We always tried to get the Bigfoot here.
Oh yeah. They have one. Okay, yeah. So at that university, I took a class called electron microscopy, and basically the professor's like, okay, now that you've taken this class, like you just have full access to the electron microscope, and it's an old school one, but that's not a bad thing.
No.
This one still works. The reason I say it's old school is because it runs on gold. It's literally a microscope that you need gold to do it. So the guy in charge of it has to buy pure gold bricks. And
Sounds fake. Sounds so fake.
Yeah, no,
It
it's
sounds
cool.
like some straight up Christopher Columbus shit that runs on gold.
It runs on gold. And so what it does is you get your sample. You have to dehydrate your sample you're going to look at beforehand.
Mhm.
You put it in a vacuum chamber, and then the machine takes your gold brick and it breaks it down into gold atoms. And then it shoots the electrons from the gold. I guess gold, it's easier to get electrons out of gold, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know how this shit works. I mean, this is not biology. I'm saying microscopy is a tool used in biology for sure, but it's not purely biology. It's more of a technical thing. Although I am skilled with a microscope. Anyway, I digress. I don't understand 100% what's happening, but what I do know is that it gets the gold and it shoots little electrons from the gold, which are subatomic particles, at your subject, and it bounces so many electrons that the electrons bounce back at a collector, and a collector makes a black and white image. But then you're like, when he demonstrated it, he would take a microscopic pollen grain. Okay, so this is something in the air that plants release. It's actually their sexual gametes. It's the equivalent of their sperm, basically, plant sperm, tree sperm. But they're very tiny. Like you literally cannot see it with your eyes. But he puts it in the machine, and it shoots gold at it. And then you zoom in so much, so crystal clear, and it looks like an island that you're walking on. That's how close you get. You're like, wow, you've enlarged this invisible grain of sperm into an island that I feel like I could walk around. I could fall down in caverns. It's pretty impressive. So yeah, you get a very close look at your things.
That is this is a tangent, and I don't want to go off on it too deep. But you see how you had to use gold to do that, and it's the thing that works the best for it.
Yeah.
Do you think that hypothesis that we were bred by some super species to mine gold, and that's the reason we love it so much?
I mean,
gold is like the best element in the universe to do shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that, and I think I've thought about it too, and I think there's a lot of truth to the fact that gold has a lot of value, and it's not just a human thing. Because like we just talked about, most people will be like, oh, gold has value for its monetary purpose, for holding value.
Yeah, but why does it have value for monetary purpose? I mean,
exactly. Yeah. And then I just mentioned a really practical, technical, scientific reason why gold is useful. What reminds me of also this is like one of my best interviews, which is about to get 12,000 views, is I interviewed Fred from
was it Fred Royal from Alaskan Killer Sasquatch?
Fred Roll from Subarctic Alaska Sasquatch. I interviewed him about a year and a half ago. And I mean, people watch that interview every day. They just watch it all. It's just an hour and a half long, but they watch it every day. It's great. But anyway, he mentioned a lot of things, but he mentioned he was on this river, the Nuyakuk River, and he was with an elder, which he wasn't that old. He was like 60. And he was with his cousin, and he had all this equipment down this lonely river, and they had a permit. They had permission to go prospect for gold. And he said they got kind of into the woods, and I in the video, just look up wild trees, subarctic Alaska Sasquatch. In the video, you see that it's in the middle of the woods. Like I have a satellite image of it. There's like literally nothing there. I 100% believe Bigfoot lived there. It's an ocean of green trees. That's how much there's a horizon. Anyway, he basically says he was attacked brutally by Bigfoot. Although to me, to me, that was obviously, I would never say this to him, but to me, it was obviously just a warning attack. They would have killed him if they wanted to. He literally shot one of them. He shot with them with an aught 10, aught 8. This elephant killing gun. He basically shot at one point blank with an elephant killing gun.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened, and they didn't kill him. So I think it was literally a warning thing. But then I was like, why are they warning him so bad? And I started thinking about the gold. I was like, well, they were going to get gold. Could it be they're protecting the gold? They don't want. Is it the gold, basically? I know it sounds weird, Bigfoot protecting, like scaring people from gold, but is it that weird? I don't know. Who else
I don't think
values gold?
I mean, look how we are about gold. I mean, it's not too far off.
Yeah, I just thought it was a weird connection, the gold thing. I wonder if that plays on. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but I don't know. I mean, what if it was like, crypto terrestrials or like humans with advanced technology and they were just faking being Bigfoot, but the main reason they were doing it is because they wanted to keep them away from the gold? I don't know.
I mean, the thing with the Bigfoot researchers, they always say it's near running water, streams in the rocks, and the only place in Alabama that has the big what's the word? The big concentration, Jesus, of Bigfoot sightings is the areas where they pan for gold. Calhoun County, Anniston, all that area.
What I need to look up now, because this may throw a wrench in it, but Robert Bitto was talking about how near this volcano near Mexico City, it's reported that there's aggressive Bigfoot there. So I need to find out, is there gold in that area? Like, what is there in that area that also has aggressive Bigfoot?
There's got to be near a volcano. I mean, that's where gold comes from.
Is it really? Okay, I don't know that much.
It comes from like Middle Earth, not like elves and shit, but like,
oh, okay,
it's subterranean. I'm speaking out of turn here, but
Jamie, by Jamie I mean Bobby. Jamie, can you pull this up? Can you look up, is there gold near volcanoes? I'm curious now. I would do it, but it would crash my whole system because I'm on my outside.
There's gold near volcanoes. Well, I know that there's like a thing that, yes, gold can be found near volcanoes. Magma near volcanoes. Volcanoes directly or indirectly produce or host deposits of aluminum, diamond, gold, lead, zinc, and copper.
There you go.
When I figure it brings up whatever's under there out. I mean, it doesn't, probably not just like a gold pot.
Exactly, but yeah. Interesting. So there is a connection between this gold. Here's the thing: causation. No, what is it?
Correlation doesn't equal causation.
Correlation does not equal causation, but we found a few cases here where aggressive Bigfoot are correlated to gold deposits.
I mean, look where all the gold is that we know about off the top of our head. It's all volcanic areas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all real areas populated with fossils too. So it could just mean that if you turn up part of the world, part of the crust to the mantle, you get the gold in the fossil.
But I wonder about Alaska. Is there volcanic activity near the Nuyahkuk River?
It's the Ring of Fire, man.
Oh, okay.
How is that spelled? Nuyahkuk. Makes me crave salmon.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
Nuyahkuk.
There we go. What's funny is Huntsville, Alabama, half the damn companies that take over the defense contractors are all Alaskan.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because they're minority based.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say it was because Nuyahkuk is let me pull this over to my other screen. Nuyahkuk is it's not like on the coast, but it's like coast adjacent. That's interesting. We're sitting here like having here we go. So like there's the ring of fire, like more or less.
Uh-huh.
Because Alaska's in it. Because Alaska's all
let me see.
Tectonic plate. See there's the Nuyahkuk. I bet it's close. I wonder if I can put volcanoes in Alaska. Volcanoes, Alaska. It's got to be up there. They have earthquake. Oh, look at that. Hell yeah. Definitely is. Because there's a Nuyahkuk right around in there. Wow. I did not know that was many volcanoes. Look at all that. Holy Jesus.
Shoot.
Christ almighty.
I guess I see the ring. It is kind of a circular looking thing.
Well, the Ring of Fire is the entire Pacific. It's not Ring of Fire restaurant. Ring of Fire volcanoes. Come on. because it's the entire Pacific all the way down to like New Zealand is what that refers to. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Wikipedia, the best source.
I mean, Alaska is there and there, but yeah, I see what you're saying. So that whole thing,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's
So,
like a whole. It's like the tectonic plates. Hang on, I'm gonna get that better. There it is. It's just that big plate where it moves is where the volcanoes are. I don't know what Hawaii's doing, but yeah.
you know what this reminds me? So I want to start streaming again with my Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've
Mhm.
been learning a lot about that program. So it's basically Bobby used to play it back in the 80s. I don't know, 90s or something.
98, baby.
It's been around since like a long time. But it basically what it does is it's a video game that tries to simulate the entire planet, and it lets you fly around it, and it's very realistic. But I was looking at the modern version because I want to do trips like this. Like I would love to fly my jet all around the Ring of Fire. But I was looking into it. There's one version that's called Super Detailed because actually what it's doing, the newest version of the game, it's live streaming real satellite imagery of those areas to make them. But there's this one option I was looking at. It uses so many megabytes or gigabytes per second,
I bet.
but it provides you like the most detailed look at the world, and I want to try that. So we're about to get what is that? SpaceX satellites. What is it called? Starlink.
Starlink.
And I want to start doing that, dude. That sounds amazing. To get the super high quality thing, you know.
I'd be interested in the download and up speed of Starlink because the big thing with satellite internet used to be the upload speed. Like you could download it pretty quick, but pushing it back up was like a snail's pace. So and it's been 15 years, so who knows what it is now? Because I looked into it. That upload.
At some point, I wanted to give let me give a disclaimer. But at some point, I want to give a possible, I'm not sure yet, but possible beauty hack for men and women, actually. And
Beauty.
the beauty hack. I just discovered it today. Well, actually, I've known about it for a while, but I just today discovered it's probably a game changer for humans. Like I used to work at this animal hospital that was a dermatologist clinic for dogs and cats, right? And so dogs and cats used to come in with medical problems in their skin, and one of the things we would prescribe them was a product that you could get a bucket of this stuff for $60 on Amazon. And what it's called udder wipes. Udders, UDDER. And so it's made for the dairy industry or for the farming industry, I guess, ranching. And so you have a cow with udders, and then these wipes, you just rub it on the udders, and it helps keep them healthy. So I started, there's some dogs that I know. Let me say, there's some dogs I know that could need these wipes because that's why we prescribe them to help them with their skin. But then I went to Amazon, and it's only $60. I was looking at the ingredients. Every ingredient in there, I looked it up for humans. It's amazing for your skin. Like I'm guessing that if you bought that in a bottle, I'm guessing if you bought each of those chemicals or ingredients in a bottle, it'd be like $100 for a tiny bottle. But you could get 700 udder-sized wipes for $60. And so it looks amazing. Look up udder wipes. So I'm not sure if it's good for humans, but I can't imagine it would be bad for the human skin because all the chemicals in it that help like moisturize, refine dark spots, wrinkles, like it's all stuff that is good for humans. So I'm gonna buy some.
Gosh.
I'm gonna start rubbing my face, baby, with the udder wipes.
Oh, you can get teat wipes.
Yeah, teat wipes.
700 for $60.
That's what I said, dude. And they're big. They're the size of a cow's udder. I'm swear to God, this is a beauty hack like unlike any other. I'm gonna try. I mean, I have to buy it for the dog, but I'm gonna try it on my own, and I think it's gonna be a game. It moisturizes your skin. It removes fine lines. It removes the dead top layer of your skin. It removes dark spots. Like literally, it does all these amazing properties for humans. It moisturizes your skin.
I wonder if it's one of those things. If they find out you're buying it for people, they won't send it to you anymore.
Yeah, could be. You got to be the trickster. Turn into the.
A lot of the antibiotics they sell in co-ops and stuff. If you just buy them for your cows, it's the same stuff we have. It's just they don't want you to put it administering yourself. That's what Jeffrey Pritchett was doing with amoxicillin.
Oh, okay.
He would go to the co-op and get it. He goes, if they find out you're doing it, they'll make you stop. He didn't have health insurance, and I had relatives doing it with ivermectin. During COVID. This thing's gonna get unmonetized now that I said that. That's too bad.
No, let's talk. We'll bring it back. Ivermectin is used for its
deworming and viral control.
Yeah, there you go.
And I used to get it for $1. What the hell did I just do? I used to get it for $1 for my goats back in the day. It just you give it to them once a year, if they ever start getting the scours, as they say. I don't know if anybody knows anything about goats, but if a happy goat has its tail up over its back, like this is the goat's back, and its tail's got the exposed part under here. If it looks like that, you can actually see its goat butt. It's a happy goat. But if it's got its tail down, over its butt, that's a sad goat. And then it starts getting goat poop, messy goat poop on it. That's how you know it needs warmed.
I got a question about goats. Do goats smell like goat milk, or does goat milk smell like goats?
I know that a nasty billy goat smells like piss.
Okay.
But a nasty billy goat is, I think, half the skunk ape lore. Because if it smells worse than that, then yeah, I can't imagine walking up on something that smells worse than a horny billy goat in the woods. Like that's got to be, because you can smell them for a while, and they pee on themselves is why during their season. And you can smell them at least 100 yards if you know what you're smelling for.
Now check this out. I think I was trying to do research. I didn't get too deep into it, but it looks like a lot of apes do not have hair on their chest. I was trying real hard. I know like gorillas don't, but maybe some do. I'm looking hard because the thing is, Patty from the famous Bigfoot film, she's got a very hairy chest. She's got a female breast, and she's got hair all over her chest. But a lot of apes don't. But who does have hair on their chest? Humans. Humans have hair on their chest. So to me, that's like, because I'm stuck on this idea that some Bigfoot are basically feral people. They started off as people. It's that transformation. That transformation legend is there in our cultures. We see the vampire legend of transforming.
We want it to be true.
You see the werewolf legend, and even the zombie legend. The zombie legend is you start off as a human and then you transform into something else. So it's a prevalent thing. And then there's real life examples like metamorphosis. And like I like to say, famously, pigs, a domesticated pig will visibly, their morphology, Bobby, the way they look, their morphology will change and become savage, quote unquote savage, if a pig goes wild. So it's not my original idea, but some Native Americans in Canada, and I got this from Hammerson Peterson, a YouTube channel, their legend of these Native American legends in Canada is that Bigfoot or hairy man is just that. It's a human that starts off normal, but then they get lost in the woods and something genetically flips and it turns them into a Bigfoot as a survival mechanism. So you won't die. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, why does Patty have hair on her chest? Is because she's just a person that went feral. Or maybe, she was born, her parents, somebody in her lineage was just a person. Maybe not her necessarily, but someone back there. But she's essentially a human. That's all it is. She's just a human, but different genes are being expressed. Yeah.
How bad do you want to try to turn feral? Like, have you thought about it, haven't you?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I thought more about it, and I was like, I think it's not every human. The other thing that I'm thinking, this is baseless speculation, but it's slap a hypothesis on it, and you're good to go. I'm not saying this.
And we're selling. So
my hypothesis is that I know that some people, not all people, have genetic information that is from different species like Neanderthal, because we used to interbreed. So I'm guessing perhaps not every human will turn feral. It's only the humans that have, in the past, their ancestors interbred with these other human species like Neanderthals. So they kept some of the genetic triggers. So I don't know if I would have it. So, yeah.
Well, you are like, you're not 100% sub-Saharan. And so there's a chance you do have it.
Yeah, there's a chance. I guess I would do a genetic test.
My cousin sent me, I don't have it on my overlay here, but we were talking about this exact thing on 4th of July, but he sent me his 23andMe and it says he has 82% more Neanderthal than other customers, which is...
Now, so he would probably have a high likelihood, if my hypothesis is correct, of turning feral.
He's vegan though, so I don't know. He may just die.
He may just die.
He doesn't have good fitness.
You might have to have the will to live too. That might be another point of it.
He's got weak wrists. I don't know. I wonder. Like you sit out there and you're like, "Am I going to die?" And all of a sudden you start growing like nails.
Yeah.
What is this?
It seems like it's a slow process because there was this guy. One of the stories that was told in that Hammerson Peterson video was that this guy had gone lost. Okay, this guy was hired by this company, this terrible company. This is true life, apparently. But the story is that this guy was hired by a terrible company to survey territories in Canada. So it was a horrible job. The piss poor conditions. The pay was terrible. It was just terrible. You were in the wilderness. You were exploring the wilderness. It was illness and disease and temperature. Anyway, this guy got lost. Everybody thought he died. But then somebody reported like years later that he came into a store to get stew. And he looked like he was in the middle of transforming. Like he was a few years into it. So he was still talking, but his hair was a lot different. So it's basically, it sounds to me like the process is kind of a gradual thing. Maybe it takes like 5 to 10 years, maybe. But that's just one individual, just one account. Maybe it's faster for other people. But yeah, it sounds like.
You know, a good case study would be that Japanese guy that got stuck in the Philippines for 40 years. He just got stinky. But I think he was still like tuned in to being an active soldier, so he didn't he didn't go into survival mode. He was still in like I'm here mode. Like he was always just on point.
And then we were talking about detransitioning as well. We were like, can you get a Bigfoot then, if that's the case, and then domesticate them, and then do you go back? Because we talked about the pig. We're like, does that work with the pig? Can you take a feral pig and domesticate?
That's nowhere on the internet, by the way. No one's ever tried. They all just start smoking feral pigs. No one's ever tried to bring one back.
Yeah, let's bring it back. Maybe you can't. Maybe that's what it is.
Does anybody in the chat know if you can take a feral swine and bring it back into like a regular large white or Hampshire swine? Like bring it back and just being Babe.
But it started off as Babe too. It wasn't born.
Can you go from Pumbaa to Babe and Babe to Pumbaa? I mean, is that? I don't know. That's some pig. Now, what was Babe? Babe was That'll Do Pig. That'll Do Pig.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Wilbur. It's not the same pig. Spider loving pig. Pig was a witch. What else would you think he was talking? Man, what the hell? The chat just blew up just a second ago. Everybody showed up. Some other show must have ended. You got John Lamb.
After party.
Yep.
Oh, here's something random. Okay, so this is kind of a way to praise the dinosaur design in Jurassic World Dominion. So the last Jurassic World movie had this new dinosaur called a therizinosaur. It was a very bird-like dinosaur with like 3-meter long claws. It's actually
is that the one with the fingers in the water?
Yeah. A lot of that dinosaur is actually speculation because we don't have that much of its fossils. But that's fine. I mean, what are you going to do, right? You don't have it, so you make it up. But I bought the toy recently. They're making this toy right now. Mattel, who is in charge of Barbie. They own Barbie, but they also own right now the toy rights for Jurassic Park / Jurassic World franchise. And they have this special line of toys called the Hammond Collection after John Hammond. And they're like more detailed, higher articulation, higher quality toys than the regular toy line, which is more for kids, to play hard with. So I collect both of them. But I'm basically saying I got a really nice therizinosaur toy, and my cat is terrified by it. It's just shook. So I'm like, that's a good design. I mean, the cat cannot stand it.
That's the one that was famously in the movie poster with Bryce Dallas Howard in the water.
Yeah.
And it was reaching down. Okay, yeah. It had those long, weird claws. Okay, I'm we also went to see the Jurassic Park Live, which was a kid show, but it was still canon from the JP universe, and they didn't have the therizinosaur in there, but they had the other bigger one from Camp Cretaceous. It's like a bigger velociraptor.
Is it a Troodon? I know a Troodon was a big part of that. There was a female.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And her name was Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie. She's a Troodon. Yeah.
And what, you knew about that? You went and saw that? Yeah,
You know,
did.
here's a funny. It's a kind of a sad story, but it's a funny story. So, when it was first coming to town, I remember it was right around 2020, and what happened is I pre-bought 2 tickets so I could take my sister for her birthday, but I used a gift card, like a Visa gift card for it. Anyway, I bought it before the pandemic. Then the pandemic happened, and they're like, "Oh, we had to cancel all the shows. We're issuing refunds," but they were not able to issue me a refund because I had a gift card. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
I basically lost my money on 2 tickets, and I didn't get to see it. So that's what happened. But I read all about it before I bought the tickets.
But you've went and seen it again, haven't you?
No, not yet. I still haven't seen it since then.
Yeah, it's a Troodon. I know it was. I'm looking at it now. Every time we pass by the Civic Center, my daughter says, "That's where we saw Genie."
Did you recommend it? Is it well done for what for what it is? I know it's a kids
I
stage
thought
show.
it was.
Yeah, it looked fun.
I mean, I like anything. Like I've watched Camp Cretaceous several times, and even the new Chaos Theory Camp Cretaceous 2 series.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm. That's really well done. Camp Cretaceous is.
Yeah.
And so is Chaos Theory because they're all adults now, and so it's just a little bit heavier, a little bit more PG-13.
Yeah.
And they're really well. I mean, I would probably not recommend Clone Wars, but I would definitely watch Camp Cretaceous.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was canon, and it's basically like if you ignore kind of how they have to be people, there's people in there moving, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like they're like the horse costume where a guy's like 2 people and one's been over.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they do a good job of making it feel like you're on the stage. It's no different than watching a play. And they had, they had actual death. People died. I'm like, hell yeah.
When does it take? We're talking about the live show now, right?
Mm-hmm. Jurassic World Live.
When does it take place canonically? Like after what movie, in between which movies, or during which movie?
The opening scene is right when the Indominus Rex get out.
Okay, nice.
And I'm thinking here, and they go back to the headquarters where I believe it was akin to where Bryce Dallas Howard went, with the dinos, kind of like the Greenpeace kind of bunch.
So that was from the second movie, Fallen King. Okay.
And they go back, and it ends with the does it end with the volcano? It may end with the volcano, and they had to get out.
All right, so it takes place the beginning is during Jurassic World, but the second part of it is during Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. That makes sense.
And it may go to another island too. They may have went to a place where they took dinosaurs out.
Cool.
And because I know it's at some point. See, I'm sitting here. I'm thinking my mind's making up that there was volcanoes, but at some point they go back to another island where they got them kind of in a cage, and they got to infiltrate and get them out and get Genie back out. And they end up in the woods and finding the Tyrannosaurus or Triceratops egg, thinking it was Genie's egg, but it was like this big. And like, that's not Genie's egg. And all of a sudden, here comes a Triceratops. My daughter was 3 at the time. Was like, ah.
How was the gift store? Do you remember on that one?
Oh, I don't know. We paid $20 extra on the ticket to get a light up wand, and it wasn't. They had some stuff, like little toy dinosaurs and things, but nothing I was want to hang out and in a line to get.
Gotcha.
Welcome to the shows here, by the way. Haven't seen him in a while.
What's up? Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Yeah. Just in time for the final descent here. Check it out. Does anyone have any hard-hitting biological questions about Texas you'd like to know about? Now, is the terrain in your state park where you're at, that's not the Big Thicket's farther east, isn't it? You're in more of a deserty kind of area?
Okay. So the first part, yes, it is farther east. And okay, I will say that, okay, here's the thing. The area I'm in, it's very similar to parts of the Big Thicket. What makes the Big Thicket unique is that during the last ice age, there was a convergence of 3 major ecosystems. So even though it's kind of a small area, you have a wild diversity in ecosystem and terrain and everything. Like literally, it looks like you're in different, states or whatever, because you are. I mean, you're not in different states, but you are in different bioregions. So. So the part I'm in looks like one of the bioregions that's in the Big Thicket, but it doesn't look like the 2 other bioregions that live in the Big Thicket. So yeah.
It's like a converge. It's like the middle ground where the desert turns into the south almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird. It's a weird look at like you're in an airplane. You come across the plains and it starts getting green again.
Yeah, there's even this place because I remember I went to this one place. One of the wilder places was called in the Big Thicket was called the Canyonlands, and yeah, it was a really. I mean, it was part of the park, but there was no public access. So it's like, yeah, you wouldn't normally go there, I guess, if you were a tourist. But anyway, we drove there, and I remember looking. It was deep woods, primordial looking woods, and then like if you look at the movie 65. That's what it looked like.
Mhm.
65, I like it because 65 was literally filmed kind of in the Louisiana Big Thicket area, and it was filmed in real locations. And it was filmed that way because that is what the environment looked like during the end of the Cretaceous, right before the meteor hit. So it's pretty accurate to the late dinosaur period.
Mhm.
But that's what the Big Thicket looks like. But anyway, I was in that area, and I remember it was the Canyonlands. And next to the road, there was a large, like patch of, just forest. But then right after that, I could see that the ground just dipped dramatically down, and you could tell that it would dip down, and then maybe there was a little canyon, and maybe I don't know, 6 to 15 feet, the canyon picked up again, and that was the canyon from the quote unquote Canyonlands, and that was just a really unique feature I saw because it wasn't. I guess that's what a canyon is, right? Like a canyon doesn't
Mhm.
go up; it goes down, right? That's what makes it a canyon.
For a good bit.
Yeah, so that's what it was like. So it wasn't anything sticking up out of the ground; it was going down, and that's pretty unique. And then the other really cool thing was in the Big Thicket. There's this whole park, and there's nothing, and it's really designed beautifully, but there's nothing but fields of pitcher plants, like carnivorous plants. It's amazing. And there's at least 2 different species of carnivorous plants. There's pitcher plants, and there's sundews. Sundews is another type of carnivorous plant. So that makes the area unique again. High prevalence of carnivorous plants, canyons. There's a lot of sandy creeks. Like really, I have the most pleasant looking area the most pleasant memories I have on an aesthetic level would probably be all the sandy creeks and the like clear water and sandy creeks of the Big Thicket. There's also large imposing rivers with quicksand. And then there's thick woods, the canyons, which I mentioned, ponds, and the fields of carnivorous plants. Pretty cool.
You just opened a can of worms I didn't even know I wanted about carnivorous. I got to have carnivorous plant guests now.
Yeah.
I've got to find. Oh man, that's the only reason you came on. The universe wanted me to hear about carnivorous plants.
You got to go to this park, man. The field is awesome. Like you're just walking, and there's just like hundreds of the pictures, and you can just like each one looks a little bit different, and you can look and see, was there a bug in this one? Bug in this. Oh, there's a mouse in this one. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
what is this? This is it's an illegal immigrant. Let's go across the. Oh my gosh, get him out!
You can still make it.
Come on, stuck in there. Adios mio. Get out of here, man. What is the? I'm thinking of feed me, Seymour.
I got an interesting. It's kind of a creepy Big Thicket story. Could be creepy. I don't know. You tell me if it's creepy. But I was the president of the Graduate Association, and I was doing research in the Big Thicket. So the Big Thicket Graduate Association. I mean, sorry, my university. I was the president of the Graduate Association for biologists at my university. So we had to do volunteer hours. So I was like, let's take a field trip to the Big Thicket and clean up all the trash. And so we were barbecuing up front, and it was the middle of the night in the Big Thicket, and this guy pulls up by himself. This is what's weird. He was like, looked like he was new to the area, and he just had questions about how to get to the woods. He wanted to know how to get to there, how to drive there. He was by himself. He'd never been here, and it was the middle of the night. So we gave him directions, and we told him how to do it. And then later, I started thinking about it. I was like, that's weird. Was he dumping a body out there? Like, why? Like, it's just, I mean, there are a lot of tourists because other people would come by, but they would come by in the daytime, and they would have kids, and I would tell them, what to do in the Big Thicket. But this guy, was just weird that it was a single looking guy. Yeah. And it was the dead middle of the night. I think about fellas, that guy.
Anybody know a nice secluded area a man can hang out?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for an area just deep in the woods, I guess.
Soft ground, maybe rocky a little bit, Someplace no one knows about, maybe on an Indian reservation.
And by the way, he made it. He was clear about it. He said, and by the way, I need to go there now, like today. Actually,
Now.
it's perfect timing right now to go. I don't want to go tomorrow. I want to go right now. I don't know. Like maybe he was really. I mean, I would do that. I'm really into the woods, and if I went to a new wood, I would want to see it at night. But that may be atypical behavior.
I think I'd want to see it at night second. I'd like to see it. I like to know where I'm at in the woods first. That's the worst part about going on these expeditions I've been going on lately is I have to drive for 4 hours, and I usually can't leave in the morning, so I end up in this dirt road at night. I'm like, I could be killed.
No, that's true. I do not like doing that. Oh, here's another. Here's a hog story too. Okay, a scary story. So I was in the big thicket one day, and I decided to go back home in the middle of the night. I didn't really care, but I had to drive through all these little country roads. So I was driving in the middle of the country road, and in between Houston and the big thicket, and I saw the biggest pile of blood I'd ever seen in the road. Right, it was huge. It was like pools of blood, and then you could see where the blood trailed into the distance. Right. So something was hit, and there was a lot of blood. Something big. So I was like, I don't know. I was like, I want to see what it is. Like, is it a person? Like, maybe I could help. Anyway, so I got out of the car, and I started walking closer and closer in the middle of the night, and I was scared. I had my phone on a friend, and it was really quiet. And actually, right when I was going to come to the body, my friend said something loud and scared the shit out of me. Anyway, what it ended up being was a large hog that had been just cut down the middle, like literally just right down, a huge hog cut down the middle. So it must have been hit by a 18-wheeler or a truck. But yeah, that's why there was so much blood on the road, and that's why there was a trail of blood everywhere.
You say, what happened here? You walk up, you see the little drag marks, like, oh, what am I about to see?
Yeah. I was scared. I knew it probably wasn't a person. I was like, what are the odds it's a person?
Probably is not a person.
Probably not a person. I thought it was good livestock. I just wanted to see.
Phyllis wants to be a moderator. I should just make her one. Add as moderator. I know Dolly Safran's a moderator.
Nice.
My channel. She's never on here, but I made her one time. I was like, okay. Whatever you want to be. I think it's just how I just think how these bigger channels with like 10 or 12,000 always have a bunch of moderators. They just feel bad. I need some help.
Oh.
Everybody just feels bad.
Mr. Beast is a moderator on my channel.
The Mr. Beast.
One time I was adding moderators because JP Adventures and some other people wanted to be moderators. So I just went into the system and I started doing it. And then somehow like Mr. Beast's name came up, and I don't know, like autofill or something. I was like, sure. So I just said yes. So if he ever wants to, he is technically been moderated for my channel. I guess you could do it too. Just type his name in.
What if he dropped in there and just started deleting people? Mr. Beast nukes your entire channel. Like, what are you doing? Why don't you go make a hamburger at Zaxby's or something, man?
It's like I had too much chocolate. I've had too much Feastables. It's like I can't.
I've had too many Mr. Beast checkout counter chocolate. I can't handle anymore. Those things are like $7, by the way.
I know, dude. I took my little 8-year-old cousins to the movies, and then we walked home, and then we stopped by a gas station because they wanted more snacks. I said, sure. They're like, I want a Mr. Beast bar. I was like, you get one thing, and definitely one thing if it's going to be a Mr. Beast bar. I was like, this thing's tiny, but whatever. I was a kid too. Sure, I'll give you a Mr.
Did anybody else just see that? There was was it a bug? All right, what the fuck? Yo, right at 118 is when that happened. Right behind me. It's probably a bug because we don't bathe in this house. And but everybody look, it was 118 in this show. But right here, right here, there was a bug flew across. What the hell? Do I got another orb? That was weird. Sorry to derail the show there, but yeah, I just saw that.
I want to tell. This is going out directly to welcome to the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome to the show. I don't know if you logged in time to listen to me talk, but I had a killer beauty tip. Okay, so if you go to Amazon, you buy these things called they're called teat wipes or udder wipes. And they're these wipes that are made for the udders of cows. And I was going to buy some for a dog that I know that's got bad skin because I used to work at a animal hospital dermatology clinic. And so we would prescribe these wipes, and they're super cheap. You can get 700 large wipes for $60 on Amazon. Now, I looked up the ingredients. There's like 3 main ingredients, and I looked them up, and they're all like amazing beauty products for human skin. Like they get rid of wrinkles, they moisturize your skin, they protect your skin, they get rid of dead skin cells, and they get rid of dark spots. They just do all these amazing things. So I'm going to buy them, and I'm going to start using them on my face. And so, don't get carried away. Don't let us get caught. You know what I mean? We got to do it on the download. They're made for the breasts of cows, not for human faces. But if we're smart about it, I mean, you just buy 1 bucket of 700 wipes. That's probably a lifetime supply. I mean, you don't need to buy that many.
I'm gonna be interested to go back and watch that. That was crazy. It was right here for anybody watching.
You don't have your phone
118.
on? Can you look on your phone?
I can look over here. I got it on my other monitor. I would have to wait till it ends because it doesn't have. Damn it. Anyway, that'll be something for the clips. Everybody, be sure to subscribe to the channel because I'll put a clip out on it.
Well, let's just go ahead and just to get it out of the way, let's just ask. Hey, if that was anything weird, can you just do it again, please? We're watching.
Yeah.
If it was a bug, can you bug again, please?
Yeah, if it was a bug, can you? We got wild trees on here, so a ghost bug shows up. It says it's not. He said it's not really a beauty tip, but a way to keep ticks, chiggers, and leeches off of you. What if teat wipes were like the ultimate off? Like instead of spraying down, you wipe yourself with that.
Even better, dude. Off is expensive.
There's so many things that like veterinarians and people that have animal husbandry kind of medicine, like that the blue spray will like kill anything. Like you're not getting infected with a blue spray. And we always had it growing up because we had random farm animals and dogs, and somebody got hurt, blue spray, it burned like a motherfucker. I mean, but it would work.
Oh yeah. There
right. Now that we wiped our teats off and saw a bug. I mean, we've been having fruit fly issues in the kitchen, but nothing that big. That was crazy. I can't wait to look at that. But people on here, be sure to subscribe to Wild Trees channel. It's on the page right there, youtube.com/wildtrees, but it's also in the description of this video or the audio episode, however far you're watching. So subscribe to him. He's got stuff coming up. He had to take a hiatus, but he's coming back now. He's got some good Godzilla content and other stuff coming up. What do you have coming up? I mean, I know you said you had some kind of project in the works.
Yeah, the main thing that stopped me, like you said, the hiatus was just like internet issues because I'm out here in the lake. But
yeah, had to move,
but we're gonna get Starlink out here, and then anyways, once I get the internet, I mean, I definitely there's like a list of like at least 30 more people. I just want to do classic Science of the Strange or classic Wild Trees where I just interview people. A long list of these are high quality people. I'm just really impressed with. So I just do that, but then I really like what Jack Connor at Cosmic Road is doing with his like daily paranormal news thing. There's a lot going on there. I like to do that. Like I want to film. Like what I was thinking about doing is like hiring a writer to help me make daily or 3 times a week scripts on UFO news, and then I go out to the woods and I film remotely. So my background will be like different beautiful like nature areas, and the shows will just be like 10 minutes long, and I talk about the news, but then I give my perspective as a biologist. Like it's just a different way to look at it, and yeah, definitely inspired by Jack Connor at Cosmic Road. Check him out. But yeah, I mean, it's like I'm just a different person than Jack, so I could give a different perspective, and I think it's always good to have more people talking about the news, not less. I think it benefits everybody.
You could also do like 2 different kinds of shows. You could do like a Jack Connor kind of show and then a classic Science of the Strange kind of show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, combination of both. Yeah, exactly. And then gameplay stuff. I really like doing gameplay. One of my best gameplay channels, and it was a good stream, but I streamed The Last of Us, and I think I just got lucky because the Last of Us show was really big at the time, and so that stream's gotten a pretty good amount of views. Because it's kind of hard to get views on game streams because everybody does it so much. But that one was one of my better viewed shows. The other one that's got the most watch hours is the interview with Preston Dennett and Deli Saffron. That one actually has a lot of watch out. People have actually seen it all the way through a lot. And then all the stuff I do with Wreaking Havoc or John, I've done his two shows get a lot of views. People really like listening to him talk or having him as a guest.
He does, doesn't he? Everyone's I've had with him got pounded.
Yeah.
Wendell wants to know if you do a lot of lives. Yes, he does do a lot of lives.
Right.
Wendell likes live so he can talk. Wendell's a bit of a narcissist, so he likes to see himself on screen. I'm just kidding, Wendell.
Right. And what I like to
never
do,
change.
and I've gotten a few complaints in the comments about people not liking this format, but I like it. I'm not going to change it. And the format is this: like when I interview someone live stream, I take frequent breaks during the live stream, and I tell the person, and I tell them before the show too, and then I read all the comments, and then to me that gives it like a wild card vibe, and a lot of good questions there. Yeah, so to me, it takes it in directions I normally wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure that's why you do it too, and everybody in the room likes it too. And then if they get to watch, the person who saw that episode and participated, like 2 years later, they get to rewatch it if they want to. They can see that they were part of the show, and the guests will talk to you. If you're in the room, like Wendell, like right now, I'm talking to you, Wendell. So like, yeah, so the guests also interact with the people. So I like it, and I don't do it like I said. I take breaks. I take 2 or 3 breaks during the interview, and then I do that, and then I go back to the interview. So that keeps it kind of clean for me. A little separation there.
I like doing them every once in a while, not all the time, but so like this one, I knew I was going to do it live. I'm like, yeah, we're just going to certain guests are better live.
Yeah, you told me that like you were shying. Sometimes you shy away from the lives because you feel like you get caught up in the chat and it takes away from the main show. Is that what you were? I don't want to apply anything.
Yeah, like I'll get like if it's a really, really, really like high level guest, not saying not high level, but like somebody I had to pursue real hard. Like I don't want to ruin it with comments. I want to hear them tell their shtick and kind of be like the art of the podcast.
That does make sense. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Because I consider it to be an art, but I also consider it to be fun, and this is really fun to do.
Right.
Especially when everybody gets to chatting and talking back and forth and jawing. It's always fun. You can't hate it. What happened was after me and you started doing it so much, I started doing only lives and just not really getting any better. So I had to bring it back down.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Wendell likes his questions answered. Never change, Wendell. Never change.
All right, Wendell. I'm going to challenge you to ask me a question. And I'll answer it. This is what I would look. I'm really good with biology, all living animals, especially insects, all topics of the paranormal. If you have a paranormal topic, I really like UFOs and aliens and abductions, dinosaurs, video games, movies. So you can think of a question in one of those topics. I will answer it. Bobby will read it.
Wendell, ask one question right now, and we'll do it, and then we'll wrap this show up, and I'll go eat pizza, and we'll all have a fun night.
No pressure.
Everyone, please subscribe to my channel and Wild Trees too.
No pressure.
Come on, Wendell. Ask a question. He's typing right now so hard. He's like, I'm glad he's not driving. He'd be on the police blotter in Calhoun County. That's hilarious. Let's see what we got. Who else is on there? Yeah, John P. a while ago said, "Where's the bucket, Leroy?"
Yeah. Oh, I told you that I looked up that "Where's the bucket" thing, and Leroy is actually a French name, and it means king. It kind of comes from the root king. I don't know if that has anything to do with that alien. If everybody who doesn't know the story, basically 2 aliens called me one time, and it's a long story, but they took one of the things they said to me was, "Where's the bucket, Leroy?" which sounds cryptid. But I looked up Leroy just to see if there was hidden meaning, and Leroy is a name. And I know it sounds kind of country, but it's actually a French name, and the roots of it are king.
Leroy.
Yeah. So who knows?
Wendell said, "What did Bobby evolve from?" Monkeys. A fish.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the thinking is that a fish started off some kind of fish species, and that evolved from fish. We got reptiles, and then so first we had a fish, and we had and we could tell by the shape of the skull and stuff. But yeah, fish moved on to reptiles. So all our ancestors are fish. All our ancestors are reptiles. But then from reptiles evolved the mammals. So hair is originates from scales. Hair is in a way modified scales. Anyway, then from a mammal, which would probably be a rodent type species at first, Bobby became a ape-like species, and then eventually we got Bobby. So yeah, Bobby was a fish, and then he was a reptile, Yep. And then he
I was
was
picturing the Simpsons evolution where everybody was yellow.
yeah.
The coalition just asked me if your name was actually Wild Trees. I'm like, it's not,
That's a
but
good question.
pseudonym. There's a reason he goes by that, so he doesn't get made fun of for paranormal views in the.
Yeah, basically, I
Indeed.
have a career as a biologist, and that means I talk about just random normal topics in biology, like ecosystems, scientific discoveries, insects, and biology, and invertebrate life. But it's been my experience. Basically, my mentor. I got lucky. I got one of the best scientific mentors ever. He's like in biology, we have this thing where we talk about academic parents, and then we even talk about academic grandparents. So I've heard some people be like, "Oh, my great academic grandpa was Charles Darwin," because he could literally trace. Charles Darwin had students, and they had students, and they had
Oh,
students.
I
And
get what you're saying. Like the
yeah.
teachers back in the teachers.
Yeah, so there's a familiar relationship in academia. So you kind of have an academic father. So I have an academic father and mother. They were both they're a couple. They were both working as biologists. She is a parasitologist and he is a entomologist. He actually mainly works with ants and some other rare insects. But anyway, he's a great scientist. He's great, and his career just continues to grow. But anyway, he did a great job teaching me field work, but many times he made it very clear to me that like he was utterly disgusted by the paranormal, just sick to his stomach by it. And so yeah, he would be disappointed if I knew I had any interest in it. So for that reason, and he's not alone. He's not alone, and he's a great scientist. But probably his academic father, probably told him the same thing, and maybe his academic grandfather told his academic. I don't know. So I use a different name so that I don't like talking much about my disguise because it kind of gives it kind of like goes against the idea of having the disguise when you talk too much about the disguise. But I use the name Wild Trees for this reason, basically.
Yeah, and I know I'm in the inner circle because I got the real name, so I'm protecting it with my life.
Yeah, usually when somebody I'm going to be on their show or they're going to be on my show, I usually just tell them my real name and I show them some kind of references just the first time, and then a lot of them just forget I even did that. They forget that they knew my name or my everything, and they don't even care. I guess they really don't even care. But I just do that just so that they don't think I'm some kind of weirdo or a fraudster, basically. Academic fraudster. No stolen valor. I'm telling you what, man. I got that. I earned that 2.5 GPA. Okay, I did not take any Adderall. All right. I'm not saying, look, you want to take Adderall and go to college and get all A's. Just do you. It doesn't sound like the healthiest thing, but I just want to say that I went to college and I never took Adderall and I got D's and I got C's, but you know what? I graduated, I worked in a lab, I got experience, I published research, and I continue to teach. And I did it all with no stolen valor. I got my scholarships, my fellowships, my grants, and it was no drugs involved. I mean, there was some drugs, but they weren't Adderall.
You weren't that kind of drugs.
Yeah, a lot of people abuse Adderall for.
So you're not the Mark McGuire of the classroom.
Who's Mark McGuire? Which one is he?
the home run king.
Okay.
Look like Gordo from Mortal Kombat.
All juiced up.
Juiced up.
Juiced
What
up.
is JPA? JPA is ruining my night here. He says, "What about the Peruvian bones that Jack Connor was talking about?" I don't know. Is that the paper mache?
Yeah, I've been following that, and basically, a lot. There's a new person who's, I think, a philosopher, and he's basically saying some people are morphing it, and they're like, the thinking is that perhaps they are genuinely old. So these Peruvian mummies are at least 1,000 years old, maybe several thousand years old. Now the question is morphing into, do they actually represent real bodies? So some people are saying they could be cultural artifacts. So they're not a hoax because they weren't recently made, but perhaps a few thousand years ago they were made from llama skulls, or from part of it could have been, part of it could be alien, and part of it could be, because mummification rituals are so weird, like even human mummification, sometimes you throw away some organs and you keep some organs. So I'll say the Nazca mummy debate is changing, it's evolving in different ways. So one of the latest things is that people are saying that they are generally old and they are genuine archaeological finds, but perhaps they are made of some llamas, or they could be a MacGuffin, not a MacGuffin, they could be a chimera, a combination of different wild animals, Yeah, no, totally. Well, I mean, if they made a movie about him, they would be the MacGuffin. But
Yeah,
and actually, they were the MacGuffin
like the Holy
in
Grail.
yeah. Well, they were the MacGuffin in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. They kind of were the MacGuffin. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
kind of.
not exactly an alien species was a MacGuffin. Anyway,
It's close. It's from the same place.
but yeah, there's a lot of activity on those mummies, and I think the story's not over. We're gonna keep getting more research. And here's the thing, Jaime Maussan keeps saying, and I've heard it already, that there's a lot of bodies. Like right now, we know maybe about a dozen or less, and he's like, no, there's a lot. We found a lot. There's a lot of different types, and there's 3 types of bodies. There's one that's about human size but has non-human characteristics. There's one that's very small, and then there's another one which is definitely, it looks like it's definitely a chimera. That's the thing. There's one classification of Peruvian mummies that definitely, it's so weird looking that it's almost definitely a chimera, or it's made of different types of like bird, mammal, reptile skeletons. That's the 3rd class. So there seems to be 3 classes of these bodies. Yeah,
True.
I think we probably should.
There's a software program we use called Chimera, and I always have to tell people what that is.
Nice. Tell us what it is now, actually.
You know, just a mixture of like you said, different mythological creatures and species. And it's like almost like a hydra, it looks like.
Okay.
It's one of those words that means something different, but basically what it is.
Bottom line with the mummies, I think the jury's still out, and we should continue to study and learn about them. But as far as what is ultimately their origin, or what do they mean, I think we need more work to find out.
Here we go. They're weird looking critters. They got like a griffin and a goat and all this crazy shit. Pretty sure that's Aslan right there, but I don't know. I don't know what that. Yeah, but that's what a chimera is. I keep getting them mixed up with like a hydra, but it could be anything. It's just a bunch of different animals. All right, folks. I think we are going to wrap it up now because I think we're done. I think we reached the end of it. You know, diminishing return.
Mm-hmm.
What else are we going to talk about? Just be sure to hit that subscribe button. And Wild Trees' channel is in the description. Please follow him. He's much smarter than I am and deserves your respect.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that.
He's a god to you people. Worship him.
I'm
Anyway, all right.
I'm very humble. Although there was this one girl that I dated for a while. I don't know if it was a compliment, but she kept insisting that I start a cult. She's like, you need to start a cult. I guess she thought I'd be a good cult leader, but I was like, no, I understand the benefits of being a cult leader, but I'm flattered you think I should do it, and you think it's a viable. I don't really have interest in manipulating people in that way.
I watch that documentary once a week. How to become? I want a cult so bad.
If I started a cult, it'd be the first cult that works all the way through forever. It'd be the best cult ever.
You just skip step 3 and you're okay.
Exactly. Yeah, just skip step 3. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all you have to do. All right, folks. It's been a great show. Peace out, Wild Trees. As always. Till next time. My theme music.
Goodbye.
I never didn't believe in Bigfoot. I never believed in it. I didn't believe in it. I never gave it any thought.
They kept wood knocking back and forth to each other, and it was in a pattern.
Barn owls don't typically throw rocks.
I come across these tracks.
Sasquatch is still not on my mind.